It's obviously a very impressive victory for you last time out. I guess just how important was it to get a result like that? Maybe just to prove that you're doing things the right way.
Yeah, it was super important to me just because I had such a long layoff for a while. Wasn't really sure if I was going to come back for a minute. So yeah, I mean, as you saw after the fight, I was just just real high with emotions. It just felt good to be back exactly where I belong.
So during that time, did you think like I might never fight again?
There was a point in time a year ago where I was talking to my Coach Safe, and I was like, I don't know, Coach, I just don't know if this is in the cards for me anymore. I had that moment, and I know a lot of professional athletes, fighters go through those trials and tribulations. It's real, the feelings are real, and he just kind of laughed when I was really serious about it. And I'm like, man, like how could my coach, someone that my mentor, someone I look up to, just kind of laugh in my face about it? He's like, no. He's like, you're far from done. So, yeah, I mean, he's right.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So far from done and a quick turnaround, right? I guess, did you push for this, or whose idea was this for you to turn around?
Actually, so after the fight, I booked a flight home to New Orleans to visit family. And Monday, my wife and I were on the flight, and my coach called me as we were taking off. And he's like, hey, I have some really big news. And he told me, and I was like, man, I don't know how I'm going to enjoy this vacation, but just coming off that big win, I was like, let's do it. Like, I've had this layoff. I was borderline about coming back, and my headspace, my mental, everything has grown so much. I was like, let's just do it. I'm excited. Like, this is the biggest opportunity of my life, and I'm just very grateful, and it must mean that, Dana and Mick, they believe in me. So, and I want to show that. I want to prove it.
Awesome. How challenging is it at 35 though, right? Was it maybe good that you had to know, like, just stay in shape and stay at that weight, or how challenging is it?
Well, I mean, honestly, the last year and a half, I mean, I know I was going through a bit of stuff right there and then, but in the midst of not knowing what was going to be next for me, I just stayed consistent. And I just showed up to every practice. I stayed on my nutrition and really honed in on like the mental part of everything, which is really what I needed to work on. And so honestly, to be honest with you, it was relatively easy. I mean, my weight stayed really low the entire time, and it's exactly where I want to be. Like, I want to be able to, bounce back within a few months and fight, because I love doing this, and getting rid of that little, mitigating whatever was going on in that time with, quick turnaround, this or that. I mean, I've been honing my skills, and I've never stopped for the last year and a half.
That's awesome. You said it, big opportunity here, right? Big card, somebody coming off a title fight.
Right.
What are your thoughts on the matchup itself?
I think it's an awesome matchup. I think Bueno Silva poses a lot of threats. I mean, she's an amazing fighter, and she's had an awesome run up until the title shot. But I know I can hang with these girls. Like I said, it's all mental for me. I have the capability and the ability to go in there and take out anyone in front of me, and it's just connecting the mind and the body.
Right. Last thing for me, have you considered what could potentially come next? Because there's not a lot of names in front of hers in the rankings, and she's coming off a title shot. I mean, do you start injecting yourself in those conversations with a victory here?
Yeah, oh, for sure. I mean, there's a lot that I've talked to, Mick about, and, there's a lot of potential, along the lines for a title situation, but I'm trying not to get ahead of myself, because the number one thing that I've really been focused on is just being in the moment and not thinking about results. And that was my mindset going into my last fight. That's my mindset going into this fight. Sure, I know that what outcomes are there for me, after a win or whatnot, but I'm not focused on that. I'm focused on Bueno Silva.
Macy, over here. You mentioned that Mayra, she was on that run up until the title fight. So what did you make of her fight against Rocky?
I mean, just like I've been watching in all of her fights. I mean, her first few rounds are really like exhilarating. I mean, she's kind of crazy, and she puts a pace, and she goes exactly for what she's looking for. But I really kind of saw what I think is a lot to do with her mindset. I don't think she has the right mindset right now. I think she's kind of a mess. And it showed in the fourth and fifth round of the fight. Like, you're in a title fight and you're laying on your back. I've heard some stuff that she like ruptured an eardrum. That's understandable. Like, injuries, I mean, you have to mitigate and do what you can in a fight. But I think title fight, you have to really, like, you got to bring the heat. Like, people are watching, you're given this opportunity, this huge opportunity, and you got to fight through whatever is going on in there.
It just seems from the outside looking in, a lot of her submissions are when she gets pressed against the fence, like she's a reactive submission grappler. Is it that like cut and dry, like don't push her up against the fence, or do you kind of see other holes that maybe we're not seeing?
Yeah, no, she's very clinch heavy, and she kind of just like will let you put her right where you want, like on the cage, and she's very savvy with submissions. You know, I've seen her drop to knee bars against the cage. She's got that ninja choke that I've been working, I've been working diligently. Like this entire camp has been a lot of grappling, like so much grappling. I mean, I've been having a nice ice my knees every day, multiple times a day. I'm working with one of the best grappling guys around, All-American wrestler Kyle Crutchmer. I've been working with him for over a year now. So, and I've advanced a lot in that area. So I know exactly what she's gonna do, and I just gotta mitigate it.
Are you surprised that Mayra's fighting before Rocky? Like she's come back from that fight before Rocky's defended her title?
No, not really. I mean, I'm not really sure what they're trying to shake up right now. They're trying to make some moves. Kayla Harrison is in the division now, so there's a lot of ruckus going on, which I think is awesome. You just don't know what to expect from the 35 division right now.
Now, last one for me. Can I just get your thoughts on the main event between Yuri and Alex?
The main event is badass. It's almost like Connor would have been awesome to be on the card, and Michael Chandler, but I just feel like this card has been like shuffled and rearranged in such ways that I think it's going to be insane. The main event, I'm a really big fan of Jerry, and then obviously Alex, and I think that he's gonna get a knockout again. He's a specimen.
Macy over here. What do you make of the fact that Mayra's fought as low as 125, you fought at 45, and you're gonna have a height and reach advantage in this fight? How much of an asset will that be in the matchup?
It's a huge asset. My reach advantage and height. She's gonna be reaching for clinch, and I have a 72.5-inch reach, and she's got I think 66. So if I don't use my reach, I might as well just throw it in the bag. But yeah, my attributes are gonna be a huge part of this fight.
You talked about her sort of mental state, talking about, in the title fight and everything, and you've gone through a lot. You sort of alluded to, some of the health issues you've had over the years.
Yeah.
You've really battled a lot outside the cage, even just getting to the fight. How much, again, for you, just going through all that is an advantage in this fight, just from the mental standpoint?
Well, the trials and tribulations that I've gone through in my life, and I think most fighters, that is an asset for me. I use that, I use that to my advantage, and I use it knowing that I've been through some really tough shit, right? It's like, fighting is fun for me. It's easy, right? So yeah, I think, and it showed in my last fight. Everything bottled up, but being able to feel like that and use that as an asset, but also being calm in the storm is like a really big part of it. So I think it's almost going to be a battle of like the mental between Bueno Silva and I.
Do you want to see Juliana Pena and Raquel Pennington next? Is that the fight you think does make sense? Or with Kayla coming into the division, would you rather see her get the opportunity?
I really want to see Kayla fight Norma Dumont. I think that would be an awesome matchup. They're both very bigger physical women. And I really want to see how Kayla does against someone with that kind of caliber of power and physicality to them. And then, yeah, I wouldn't mind, Juliana Pena versus Raquel.
Just last one for me, do you look at a fight with Kayla down the line? And again, just with the fact that Kayla also fought in a bigger weight class, she's making the move down to 135, is that a fight you kind of eyeing in the future with you and Kayla?
Of course. When she made her UFC debut, I was talking to my coach, this is a possibility, So I don't know what they're going to do matchup-wise after, but, they're stirring some shit up. But yeah, it's possible.
Macy over here, just wanted to piggyback on that one. What did you think of Kayla Harrison at 135? Because that was obviously one of the big questions. How would she do in this lower weight class?
To be honest with you, I thought it was extremely impressive that she made 135. She's a big girl, and she's been competing at a bigger size for a long time. But she's also a professional, and she works with my nutritionist, Eric Pena, as well. And he's an awesome person, and someone of that caliber that has acquired an Olympic gold medal, PFL titles and all that stuff. There was doubt that she was going to be able to sustain 35, but she's a professional, and she's been doing this since she was young. So yeah, it just shows of her caliber. But my question is you know, is she going to be able to sustain it? I mean, that's a large. She's got a lot of muscle. It's a large cut for her, you know. So we'll see. It just time will tell. I mean, she made such a great performance when she got into the UFC that, you know, she might be in a position to where she can maybe have a little bit of time in between fights, you know.
There's sometimes this talk about, you know, someone making a statement that would entice an Amanda Nunes to come back. Do you feel
Yeah.
like that should be the carrot that people are chasing, or do you feel like that's
Yeah.
maybe unfair? Like, hey, let's just do our thing. It's a new chapter now.
I mean, I don't want to say unfair, you know. I definitely don't think that Amanda's completely done. I think she wanted to take a step back to see what the 35 division could do, you know, since she was such a dominant title holder. So I mean, it definitely seems like she's probably most likely going to come back.
Going back here,
Yeah.
Macy, you talked about where you're at mentally now.
Yeah.
What do you attribute to getting to that place and having the mental strength that you have now?
Yeah, so when you get to a place of, I want to consider last year for me, almost rock bottom is like, where do you go from there, right? And so I've been studying continuously a lot of the code of ethics and the way of the warrior and the samurai and Bushido, and that has really, you know, just doing the right thing all the time without any thought of the future or the past, and being in the present moment always. And that has really, it's done like leaps and bounds for me. And, you know, not thinking of myself as someone but no one, and just being here, being now. And that's really helped my mental in the last year. I've been really studying a lot of like Zen and Buddhism and stuff like that, and it's helped me with fighting and life in general.
And to piggyback on that, how has it helped you with the everyday ups and downs of practice? Because we know it can go from a high to a low very quickly. In the
Yeah.
training room.
Well, yeah, training always goes high and low, right? And it's just having a feeling it, and then just not letting it consume you, right? Because I got to be able to do the next thing. I can't stay so consumed by this one feeling to where now I can't do the next. It's the same with fighting. Like if I get upset because I got hit in this one position, I got to keep moving forward. There's no time to dwell. You have to just keep going.
Thank you.
Thank you.